All right, I did the cast on this a little bit ago, and we got to finish this up and turn it into a proper sword. So we got to do some grinding, and then we got to do some work on the handle, and got to do some cleanup on the blade. And I suspect this will take a couple of different nights to do this, but I hope to have the blade taken care of, and we'll take care of the handle part later. All right, let's get started. All right, this is going to need a bunch more of that to make this better, because I can feel where those seams were. For some reason, I thought that would go right away, disappear, but that's okay. For now, for a first run, okay? And then I'll take to the grinder, and then I'll set up what I have planned for the end of the sword there. All right, let me rearrange some things, change some equipment. Well, I'm only partway through, and already I'm not, I don't know. I guess I thought this was going to go a little different. I'm not sure. Anyway, there's some areas I'm going to have to hit with the Dremel, because I can't quite get into there with the grinder. And then as I'm grinding away, then I really was seeing how this is so not as symmetrical as I was hoping it would be. To me, it doesn't, just to my eye, it doesn't look quite quite right. I don't know. Maybe it'll still turn out. All right, I got to do another switch and do some more grinding. Alright, the rest of this stuff I'll hit with the Dremel. I think I'll just leave that in place right there. It's lined up fairly decently. Maybe a smidge off. I think when it's all said and done, it'll be close enough. Ugh, take all of that off. Goodness. Safety, right? Health, well-being, all that stuff. All right. So let's take a look at this. I took the oh, what's it called? The distance, whatever that is called. I'm slipping my mind right now. Back, so I wasn't such a tight shot, and basically I'm just looking at this outline all the way around. For the most part is good. I don't want to mess around with this. If I would have had it turned around, I would have a little bit to round off the top, but anyway, I think I did a halfway decent job of syncing these guys up. Okay, and in case anyone's curious, I don't know if I've mentioned this, what all of this is supposed to be for, but, and that's why I've got the oversized pommel there, is I'll have a Vader on each side. I wanted to get these as close as I could, because I'm going to need to draw an outline and then cut this material away, and then I'll put a piece of wood, block of wood there that I'll turn into the handle. So that's how this is eventually going to be. I don't know if I showed that on the last video or not. If I'm unnecessarily repetitive, just remember I'm getting up there in age, and repetition's getting to be my thing. All right, so I'm going to call it good for now, and then I'll pick it up later when I'm making the handle. And then I'll try to get all that situated, and then I'll finish the rest of the grinding off on this when the handle is complete. All right, I'm done for the day. Wait, do you hear it? I thought so. I thought I was here back in my shed for the first time in a while, and actually have some things set up. So I hope that I'm going to be able to work back here for the remainder of time that I decide to do this particular hobby. I'll give a tour maybe sometime later, just not right now. I'm getting ready to continue on with my Bronze Age sword, and so I got to get the gate, runner, sprue, and vent removed, and then get to working on the pommel and the handle. Well, it was easy to see when I was loading things down. Goodness. All right, and I did just pick up a bunch more of those cutting discs. So anyone who's looking and saying, "Oh my goodness, when are you gonna do something with that grinder?" And I will. Okay, next up, I've got this oversized area right here, and I will show you exactly why I was doing that. It's my intention, if I didn't explain it earlier, to have a pair of vaders, one on each side, and have that for my pommel. And then I'll put the handle on. So I'm just going to do a quick little outline, and then I will cut the rest of that metal off. Now I'm going to want to, I think, leave a little extra so that I can grind down to what I want. I'm just going to eyeball this here, and hopefully that'll be good enough. I've been kind of going back and forth on how well this is going to turn out, and I'm trying really hard not to worry so much about precision. I mean, to the extent that it wrecks my enjoyment of this project. I don't want to do that. And honestly, I'm not sure, unless it's going to be under super close inspection. Okay, don't think those are quite exactly the same as I thought I was getting them. But that's all right. And I can just use my Dremel and grind down closer. Anyway, yeah, that's going to look cool if I can pull that off. Although after I successfully had cast this, I had I showed both my son and son-in-law, and both of them had the exact same feedback, that this area here in the handle probably needs to be about an inch longer. So I will go back into Tinkercad and lengthen that. And then I'm going to do something different with this. I had watched a video of a guy who looked like he put on kind of a weekend seminar. I'm going to find that video. I'll put it in the description, link it in the description. That's a guy who does this thing as a business. And anyway, where was I going with that? The way their hilt was, I really liked. It was kind of a triangular sort of thing. Although I took this particular pattern, I traced an outline of a sword that was in a museum. So it's not like that this is completely 100% inauthentic. But I like the design of the other. Anyway, enough of that. I'm going to now just kind of rough cut that out again with the angle iron. Well, that might end up being a little more grinding than I'm going to enjoy, but I think that's better. Better safe than sorry. Well, this is what I have for an idea for the handle. In that one video that I referenced earlier, they had a piece of wood, and I've got this. Although, now that I'm looking at this, I'm not sure. I'm not sure now if I'm going to use this or not. I might still. But I may need to shave down the vaders. That's barely going to be thick enough because I want it to come up to the neck. That might, I don't know. Not that this is super flat, but it might still work. It might work. Little room for error. Anyway, they had a couple of pieces of wood, and what they did was they got the sword hot right here, and they took the two pieces of wood and put it up against this, and then put the clamp down, and then of course they would have the outline of the hilt, handle, and pommel area. So I think I'm going to do something like that. I don't know if this is gonna, I mean, it's just plywood. I suppose it will work. We'll see. Live and learn, I guess. It's what I happen to have handy. I was looking at some of the scrap pieces of wood I have, and unfortunately, the ones that I have aren't quite wide enough. Let me show you the piece I was thinking about using. I was thinking about using this piece here, but it's a little narrow, and I wasn't thinking about, although I suppose I could shave this stuff down. To me, this looks like that this would be potentially better than the plywood. I think this is a piece of pallet wood, and then I would shape down to the vaders. And although looking at this backside here, I guess what I would do is I'd have it here. I'm thinking out loud, and then I could shape it, have this on the outside, and shape it down. All right, I'm gonna have to think this one through and kind of make a decision. Don't need to make a decision right at this moment. I'm just getting to this point because I'm not going to fire up the furnace just to heat this up. I will do this part when I melt my next project. And I don't even remember what my next project is. I think it might be the numbers for my classroom for 2023. But whatever the next project is, there'll probably even be a shot of me warming this up. Well, for sure, because I want to capture it for this video. Anyway, I think I'm going to stop here for right now. I will cut out the pieces of wood. I'll probably do both, and then I'll agonize over my decision. All right, so it looks like I'm going to need about 4 inches of handle material that'll spill over to where the vaders are going to go, and then I can carve that out and put the vaders in, or put the vaders in and then carve that notch out as I put it in. So looks like I want at least 4 inches. I don't want more than I absolutely need, because it just means more carving on my part. So 4 inches should be enough. All right, so I decided to go with the thicker wood, if for no other reason than it's already kind of beveled here, so that would be less, well, it won't be less material. Anyway, I'm going to go with the thicker stuff. And I got a couple of cracks here, but if I put that down at this end, I don't think those cracks are going to make a difference. But now that, after having said that, I'm now starting to reconsider. No, I should be able to get right in between those. We'll see. All right. I hate wasting material. What I'll do is I'll make 3. I'll cut 3. And if this one fails, not a biggie. Doesn't make much of a line. Hopefully I'll still be able to see it. Hopefully I'm not cutting it too close. Ouch. Splinter. Hate working with wood. Cold in the shed. Maybe I'll insulate this. Maybe. So it becomes an all-weather place. Well, that's a moot point. Pallet wood. All right, now I got to do something different because I'm going to need to take this top off because I'm spending too much energy, effort, work holding that tabletop on as I try to saw this. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, trying something a little different here. I completely forgot I was in the shed where my little jigsaw is, and we'll see if this makes a better, easier task out of this. One down, and that's a solid piece. I'm hoping the second one will be too. I'm pretty sure this is exactly the way it was done in ancient times. Oh my goodness. Okay, woohoo! Not the same size, of course, but hopefully they will work. Slap a Vader down. Okay, so I goofed there. I mean, nah, I completely goofed. I could still make it work, but I bet you when I decided to use this, I had this flipped this way. And of course, then I cut it too short if that was the intention. No, because that wouldn't have made sense either, because that didn't even make it. Huh. What was I thinking when I did this? I must have been thinking, I may have even mentioned this on the other video clip that I did, that I was going to need to take that down. And maybe that was a compromise I was thinking about doing. Well, it's taking me by surprise now. I would have forgotten that I had decided to do that. But anyway, other than that, got plenty of room other than needing to make my hilt narrower. Still retrievable, still doable, and I've given myself enough room for sure, because that'll definitely go over the top. Okay. There's always a risk in filming this stuff first time, first go around, and that is when I take myself by surprise like I just did then, and how that comes across on the video. All right, well, I'll go with it because it is what it is. On a side note of working on the handle for my sword, I did discover something that just had not occurred to me, and that was getting the power strip off. When I took this board off to cut the wood for the handles, I Needed to find somewhere else for the power strip, which is just hanging on a nail there. I don't know if you can see it real well. And I'll shore that up probably a little bit better. And then I've got the battery rechargers down on the floor. It was always my intention to put that power strip probably on this support here, but I was going to do it up above, so it'd be easy to plug and unplug things. But I think I just might leave it there below, so I've got room to keep that stuff on the floor. So I think something halfway decent came from what seemed like hopefully I'm being heard over the furnace and through my respirator. If there is a part of this project that I'm concerned is going to set me on fire, this is that part. That could have gone better, but I started noticing that it was starting to melt. Yeah, that was a failure. I completely missed. Well, yeah, that was a failure. That was a failure. Well, I'm a little more optimistic than I was, say, 30 to 45 minutes ago. Maybe it was an hour ago. However long it's been since I made an attempt at trying to do an impression on these blocks. The reason why I'm a little more optimistic than I was before, well, first of all, I didn't set myself on fire, so that was pretty good. But after I got finished with everything, I noticed, boy, I don't know what that dark line is. What's going on with the light that's causing that? Anyway, as you can see on that side, the char still fits, and so I can make this work, especially if I set that out to the edge. There's enough, I think, enough overlap there. And then if I flip it over and put it on this other one, same sort of deal. I still have, forgot I was holding the camera there. I still have enough extra that'll fit over the top there. And the Vaders will fit just fine, so I can still carve out the remainder there. So I don't have the equipment. I'm thinking a scroll saw or a band saw would probably be best for this. I don't have either one, but I have access to some, not directly, but again via the shop class at the school that I teach in. So I'll talk to the shop teacher, show him what I've got going, and then ask him if he can get a student to kind of cut out this these sections here on each block. Keep the rest of it, and then I can shimmy it into place. Now, I do wonder, there is a crack there, but I suppose when I get to shaping, if that gets ready to break, I can wood glue that into place. And then I want to get a stain, and I think I want to go with a dark stain so that the aluminum kind of pops, or the handle pops with the shiny aluminum. And besides, I'm silver and black at heart anyway. Project is not lost, not yet anyway. And then while I thought I was seeing some warpage, perhaps clamping that in between the blocks straightened it back out. So the sword is still a go, and I think the project is still going to happen. We'll see. I got a couple more steps to go. Well, I've got the sword all nice and shiny, at least a pseudo edge on it. It's aluminum. I suspect there's a reason we don't make our kitchen knives out of this stuff. It may not be well suited to have an edge at all, and that's okay with me. Anyway, it's all nice and shiny. I hit it with, I think it was 36 grit, 60 grit, 120 grit on there, and I've got things that I could do if I really want to make it a little more shiny. This side, pretty good in terms of pitting and such. This side a little more pitted, but it's a cast sword. You expect a certain amount of pitting. So next, what I want to do is get ready to work on the handle here. And I think in a segment, I nearly set myself on fire. Thought I'd failed horribly when I kind of made a print of the handle by heating it up and such. Well, I'm not a woodworker on any level. So I took this to the shop teacher at my school, made some adjustments with the thickness, because this was way too thick, and that would have been a lot of material I would have needed to take down. So I told him of what I needed, and by the end of the day I got a pair of these. Okay, and these fit better than what I originally had. It still has some material that needs to be taken away for sure, but it has enough overlap that I can then just probably Dremel it down with my sanding drums and such, although quite a bit of material to take off there. But hopefully as I'm doing that, it'll give me plenty of practice. I also have to kind of notch out what I got there so that the Vader guy can sit in there, because he's supposed to be here, sit in about like that, and then the handle butts up against that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and epoxy these down using my favorite substance, JB Weld. I'm sure that's the way they did it in the ancient world. I actually thought about whether I was going to use rivets or not, and again, try to do it old style. Maybe when I try to do one out of bronze and make it a little more legitimate. this just seemed like the way I wanted to go. So I'm going to kind of do that process, and that snow falling off the, sliding off the roof. If you hear something that sounds like an avalanche, that's what's going on. All right. JB Weld uses equal parts of epoxy and hardener. If I can actually puncture the tube. There we go. And it looks like that did the job this time. And barely, maybe, there we go. Yikes. That's not the way that normally looks. We'll see how this goes. It's not a good start. It's not like I could shake any of this stuff up before I started. Maybe the hardener will still take it and it won't care. Ooh, that is thick. Last time I checked, it's 45 degrees. And this is a 5-minute set material. Longer if it's colder. There was no minimum temperature, although I probably would have been better served if I would have put this in the house rather than leaving it out here in the shed. That ought to be plenty. Oh yeah. There should be plenty of squeeze out as well. Which, the way I'm putting this on, there's not going to be any taking this off unless I take the wood all the way down to the metal. Alright, and then the vaders are going to sit there, so I don't need to go past that until with the epoxy, until I actually get there with the vaders, which won't be right away. Okay, and I got plenty of play, so not too concerned. Ooh, maybe I won't. Maybe I didn't have as much. Probably spread this a little thinner. Oh yeah, I should still have plenty. Maybe. I should. Always full of doubts. Everything's a disaster until the end, and find out, oh wow, it wasn't a disaster at all. It actually was going to be okay. Kind of my MO. All right. And I'm going to clamp that with the same pieces of wood that I use when I'm making the small cast iron flasks. And hopefully this doesn't move around too much. I got quite a bit of play, except where, yeah, see, I gotta mess around with it a little bit. because I can always grind it down to where I need it to be. And I think it'll overlap, but that's okay. All right, I think that's good. And I'll just let that sit there and see how that goes. Hopefully I kept most of what I was doing there in frame. All right, next time we see, we'll take that off, and I'll probably start. It is the next day, and I'm kind of curious what kind of mess I may have made with that JB weld. Well, the fact that those came off, that's a positive sign. Ooh, not very even for sure, but it doesn't have to be, because I just need to remove material till I get down to the that's a little sticky. Wasn't expecting that. It is cold out here, so maybe it's just taking a little longer. Anyway, I'm gonna take my Dremel and start carving down. I'm going to grab my respirator for this. Well, I think we'll get the idea of what I need to do, so I'll check in periodically. And not oh my goodness, this is supposed to be a metal channel, and I've got sawdust everywhere. All right. I think it's the LED, the fact that these are LEDs, why I have that bar. Anyway, here's what I have so far on one half. And I just have the Vader cast just sitting on the top there. There's a bit more of a gap than I like, and of course being the way that I am personality wise, of course I'm not gonna like how this ends up anyway. But here's what I got so far, and I haven't rounded the top. I think what I'll do is save that for when I put the Vaders down. Looks like this is not nearly as flat as it seems, the Vader, and so I might take him to the grinder and grind him a little bit down here on his left side, and so that is a little flat, or a little more flat. Okay, so anyway, here's the progress I got, and man, look at the sawdust everywhere, and here's how many of the little discs that I've used so far, and I'll carry on. Just back from the grinder, and that looks way better. Although I shouldn't be completely surprised. I was watching a video, this was years ago, of somebody making a musket. He was a reenactor making a musket, and every single part was custom made to that musket, which is why the concept of interchangeable parts is such a act of genius in terms of manufacturing. So it shouldn't have surprised me that I might need to custom my Vaders as I go along. I think what I might want to do is glue this Vader down so that when I shape underneath, I can shape all the way around to make that bottom match the current top here. And if I do that, I think I have a better shot of making certain that my Vaders line up with one another. Yeah, That, woohoo! I might be a little bit happier how this is starting to come together. All right, let me glue him down. There's no need to put that on. And then I probably won't be getting back to this until sometime tomorrow. It's a Sunday right now. Martin Luther King Day tomorrow. But wifey and I were looking after the Graham boys. So I may not get out to do this until they either take a nap or after they have gone home. Goodness sakes, that black band is awfully annoying. I'll have to come up with a solution, I think. All right. I'll glue this down and get back to this. Slight change in plans and shaping. Last time I was filming, I was using the bench grinder to bring this part of the pommel to be flush with the Vader. And unfortunately, I was getting in closer when suddenly I felt something move under my thumb, and it was the Vader thing. I'm not sure JB Weld likes all that shock. It did not hold. It did not stick. So I've since re-glued it. Not quite sure I got the exact same position I had before, but it's pretty close. So I'm going to hit this now with the Dremel and see if I can get through this without the head coming off again. All right, so I've been using the Dremel, cleaning up around here, and then I was taking some around the top here, and the reason for that is I want to have enough points, and that'll give me 3 points to put the other side on. And then I'll shape the rest of it down to both sides. Yeah, definitely powering down that Dremel, going a little bit slower has helped on the wood, and then speeding it up a little bit for the metal. But being patient is the key to this part of the process. Anyway, let's find out how that other side's going to fit. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's going to work. It's going to work. It'll be easier to position when I don't have trying to balance this in my hand and get the glue on it and get it kind of smooshed into place. But yeah, that's going to work. The next question, as you can see here, and you can definitely see here, but I'm not going to worry about it right now, is if there's a way that I can fill that gap. There probably is. I'll have to do some looking around. But anyway, I'll JB weld this guy into place and get him situated, let that dry, and then I'll continue on with this probably tomorrow. Woohoo! It's coming together. Well, I've got the second Vader on. So now it's time to put the earplugs back in and grind away at the rest of this before moving on to finishing up the handle. Okay. Perfect. Well, this is all cast material. It's not machined. I think that's doable. Of course, this will all get polished up real nice. A little rough here at the top. Bit of pitting. If I remember right, when I cast these, I cast them in the single flask rather than the way I normally do in a wooden flask and flat. These were cast vertically. Anyway, let's work on the handle here. Get a little bit further. Alright, I don't know if I could be heard over the respirator here. The handle's still a little thick when I hold it in my hand, but I think it's getting closer. And then carving and shaping with that Dremel is kind of a tricky thing. I'll probably need to hit this with sandpaper. You can tell that it's not quite symmetrical. But at a distance, it's not, doesn't look too bad, maybe. But yeah, I can see where there's some symmetry issues and such. I don't know, though, if that's going to make the entire piece look too bad. Alright, I think I'll at least polish up these vaders a little bit. At least hit it with the wire brush on the Dremel. And I'll think about where I want to go from here. I might also take a little bit more off the handle before I wire brush. Make it just a little bit thinner. Just needs to be a little bit thinner, I think. Alright. Woohoo! Getting there!
Yes, Master. Rise.
Well, here it is. My first attempt at trying to make a real sword. And, well, maybe not bad for a first time. I'm definitely going to need to revisit this as a project and as a task. Of course, the ultimate idea is to make something a little more genuine that's Bronze Age. And I've already got some ideas of what I want to do differently for my next one. But for this first one, I'm going to call this the Vader sword for obvious reasons. And the pommel polished up pretty good. I'm not unhappy with that. The handle work, well, I've only been doing this metal casting stuff for just under 2 years, and woodworking now just under a week or so, maybe 2 weeks. Yeah, my skills need to improve drastically before I think too seriously about making something like this under contract. Who knows, though? Maybe someone will see this and say, hey, I like that. Make me one, and we can go about that. But yeah, I think in terms of videos, I'm probably going to, the video of this, I'm probably going to bring this to an end just because I got to get this footage all compiled and ready to go and stuff like that. But I'll be thinking about this. I'll probably stain this, take sandpaper to it, smooth it out a bit. But if it ends up that it looks substantially different, then I'll post an update or something. One thing, though, I do want to show, and that is the carnage of the disposables with sanding wheels and then my polish wheels. It took a lot of Dremel work, that's for sure, and a couple of these I worked right on down to the bone where they shredded up quite nicely. So anyway, goodness, I think that's probably my longest project in terms of total, not only total time to finish, but just time even in between. Like always, if you enjoyed this video, this project, please like and subscribe. And blessings, everyone.